space Reddit. Smash the like button and destroy the subscribe button, and you will join our family.
Millionaires of Reddit. How did you do it? I worked at office jobs for a little over 30 years. Starting right after college. Every single year I put 10% of my salary into a 401k. Most years my employers matched my contribution. I invested it in aggressive growth mutual funds in my 20s, 30s until my early 40s. That was when I put half of the money into funds that generate dividends and interest and kept half in aggressive growth funds. When I was in my early 30s, my wife and I bought a house for about $275K and decided to get a 20-year mortgage instead of the more common 30-year mortgage. Today, the house is almost paid off. Today, my savings are worth slightly more than $2 million. In about a year, I can live rent-free and mortgage-free in my house that is probably worth about $700K. I never gave into temptation to borrow money from my retirement fund or to take money out and pay taxes on it. I never gave into temptation to reduce my contributions to less than 10%. I never gave into temptation to take the money out of aggressive growth funds until I got old enough that I could see my retirement years were about 10 years away. Even in 1987 when the market went to hell. Even in 2000 when the market went to hell. Even in 2008 when the market went to hell. The market recovered each time. Just as Warren Buffett said it would. The man's a genius. I give him a lot of the credit for the fact my strategy seems to have worked. I did take out a home equity loan about 15 years ago when I started my own company. But each time I pulled money out of the line of credit because the business needed it. I made it my top priority to get the balance paid as soon as possible. Final note. There is an excellent book called The Millionaire Next Door that is a study of hundreds and hundreds of people who became wealthy through their own earnings. They didn't inherit money or win the lottery. They earned and saved. A very large percentage of all those self-made millionaires are self-employed and can tell stories like narrated by Freeman. I started saving for my retirement when I was 18 years old. I always took it as a point of pride that I contributed the maximum amount to my 401k allowed by law. I lived within my means. I worked in IT and made a good salary for nearly 20 years. I have a master's degree in engineering with a focus in comp sci. A few years ago I started making videos on YouTube and worked it as a second job that I loved for years as my public popularity grew. While this happened I did not increase my spending. I increased my saving. Compared to my YouTube peers I also did a better than average job with branded integration deals. Lately I've started to run a Minecraft server and it's among the top 10 in the world. It's off to an amazing start but I work about 120 hours a week on it. In short, I'm not one of those 1M a year salary millionaires. I'm one of those millionaires that wears 8 t-shirts, drives a 10-year-old truck, and lives a life knowing that nobody can touch him. The coolest part of all of it is that I get to work from home and set my own schedule. Undefined. I have ongoing guilt about this but I didn't do anything. My father was a very successful doctor who founded what became a large regional medical practice and was earning about $10 million a year for 15 years. I grew up surrounded by wealth and when he died, he left everything to his only child, me. I still live mostly like I have nothing. Like I'm a college student. And I work in a low-paying public service job. Because I don't feel like I deserve it. I didn't earn it. It doesn't feel right. But it's all there. I have it. Saved almost all of my money from everything. Lived frugally most of the time. Got scholarships to college/law school. Took saved money and hit pretty big on a tech stock. Got a good paying job. Max out my 401k and Roth. Bought a house. Fixed it up. Sold it for a decent profit. Bought more houses. Fixed them up. And now rent them out. Got more cash from that. Bought a 6-unit apartment complex. Rent those out. Invest money in low-cost index funds. Have kept some money. About 20k out to play with in the market for fun and have made some good scores with that. Had 2 self-employed previous jobs as a research scientist and as a political consultant. The latter ended due to a political scandal that was caused by others but meant I had to change tack. Became an art dealer specializing in avant-garde material and found an niche. Worked up buying, selling and buying again from 15,000 left over from my consultation business to a collection now worth 2M. Now I'm a curator of a pretty big museum and a relatively successful artist also in terms of sales. Hard work and intelligence and learning my stuff better than my competitors to a point where I once found a book worth 55,000 for 20 in a bookshop in Stowe, UK is what I think mostly did it. And being nice to folk where possible. Simples. Became a doctor. Paid off all of my loans. Saved half of my salary for 5 years. Worked my ass off through my last 2 years of high school. Went to college. Failed out. Worked at crappy manufacturing jobs for the next 10 years. Got divorced. Had enough of picking speak with the chickens. Got dedication, went back to school. Lived like a monk for the next 5 years while I got a degree in computer science. Went to work for a soulless corporation that had decent 401k and investment programs. Burned the candle in at least 3 dimensions for the next 10 years. Got married. Had a child. During which time my wife and I paid off school loans of 25k. Kept up the investments 10% of income per year. Both of us. Bought 4 homes quivering with fear of failure each time. Sold 2, 1 for a pittance gain. 1 for a 15% gain. Still live a lot like a monk, stopped drinking almost entirely. Eat only at home. Been driving the same car for over 10 years. Don't have cable, Netflix, or any other useless monthly payments. Paid off the primary residence through luck and persistence. Still have a rental home that at least covers itself. Net worth is now over 1.5M. Left the soul-crushing corporate job. Now working with an awesome team for less money, but more satisfaction. The takeaway? Work hard and smart. And forget about the speep society tells you need. Examine every bit of cash that goes out. And think hard and long about how you can reduce or avoid the expense. Sucks at first, but the payoff is huge. It's not that hard over a lifetime to become a millionaire if you buy assets that appreciate in value or that are undervalued and will return to a normal value during an economic cycle. Land is the best example. Historical. I don't have $1 million in cash, but I have about $3 million in assets at today's values. My advice is never finance depreciable goods or services unless that good makes you money by other means. Well, after my parents were murdered in front of me, I went to Tibet to study martial arts in order to avenge their deaths. Rather than spend my money, I devoted all my time to scheming for revenge. When I finally returned home, I built up my crime-fighting arsenal by keeping my company in the defense industry so that I didn't have to spend any of my own cash. Now I'm living high on the hog, debt-free. And even though I have some pretty rough nights, I know that my future is secure. As long as I can keep that fat bastard with the umbrella from poisoning the city's reservoir. Started mowing lawns at the age of 13. Saved every penny. Never bought anything with money I made. As time went on, when I was 16, bought a truck. Started plowing snow. Profits increased. Bought another truck. More equipment. This turned into a company. And I started plowing and mowing lawn for cities. I was approached by a businessman a little less than 6 months ago offering to buy my company, and I sold it. I haven't told a soul how much I made. But let's just say it was enough to move to Florida for the last 6 months and do nothing but lay on the beach every damn day. I'm 19 now. I won 137 million in the Mega Millions. I played mostly scratchers until I never win big on those and knew I'd rather get lucky with Mega than only get a few hundred thousands. I gave each of my close friends 100k, and some of the closer ones live in my daily mansion. I don't know how to drive stick, so I bought a Bentley Continental GT and I plan on buying the new Bentley SUV when it comes out. I know that all of my acquaintance friends never cared for playing the lottery, but now they're mad I actually won. Except my good friends, which I knew would actually be happy for me. Few have tried to blackmail me, and thus far they've been unsuccessful and very detrimental to them. I'm 20 years old and worth over 100 million. You won't know who I am until I actually win the lottery, which I predict will happen in a few days. I just have this weird feeling, and my predictions usually come true. I don't think I could ever hit $1 million and not live a little. Money is just money, and if I worked my ass off to earn $1 million, I could justify buying a nice car or taking a nice vacation. Psychologically, this, in my mind, would help me make another $1 million. Wow, look what all that hard work got me. It would give me extra motivation to do more.
Space Reddit.